Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It is really early in the morning in New York. Chicago jet lag back in Brooklyn. Big offer of my nephew getting married next week in cold Chicago. So here we are back in fancy flowers. So this week's parsha, just a million things to say, but one interesting idea that pulled together. Well, first, the idea is that we have a crazy amount of actions that are taking place, and we get to know a lot of behind the scenes, front of the scenes. Let's take that front of the scenes of Yaakov Avinu. We don't know too much about Abraham until 75, and then we have stories here and there. Next 100 years, Yitzchak even less. He digged wells. He was very wealthy. He had two sons. Um, Yaakov, we go into detail, but nothing that we really is the obvious thing. Yaakov, Yoshev Halim, yeshivas, Torah, Tamim, Torah, but you don't have any place that really says they learn Torah. If anything, you have the opposite, it sounds like. You have someone who, as the Ov Yisrael says, you have someone who slept, someone who talked a lot, he kissed, he was a shepherd, he rolled rocks, uh, he walked a lot, he worked, he changed, he did a lot with the animals, maybe he's part of the stealing Avodah Zarah, a lot of stuff, not one thing of Torah. So the Ov Yisrael has an interesting idea that it's not just Torah. They have to really follow Hashem. It's not that we're trying to live from the Avos. Oh, they did Chesed, they did Gevura, all those great things they did, but they also did regular things. The Avos did regular things, and this is also really important. Not because not because they had to, or you do it any way you want to, but to really put the kedusha of yourself, the kedusha of Hashem, into what you're doing. That it should be for the right reasons, the right intentions, just enough effort, but also knowing it comes from Hashem. This idea, this crazy balance, is what makes Yaakov Tamim, according to Ev Yisrael, according to Badai, and also other Mefarshim. This is what really separates Yaakov from the others, is that we focus so much on the actions of Yaakov. We look at everything he did. It looks like regular stuff. I remember having this discussion with my friend Al Braverman, who died 8 years ago, maybe already, 8 years ago. He says, if anything, it sounds like Esau the good guy. Yaakov's the bad guy. Yaakov steals the Bechorah. He steals the Brachos. He's trying to outdo Lavan. If anything, it's Yaakov who sounds like he's doing a lot of worse things. Esau, we don't hear too much about them. Farshim say he did this in it. So the idea is to kind of really do what you have to do, not to really be, not to sit back and do nothing. And the balance is, where is me, where's Hashem? That's kind of really the struggle that the first really talk about, is where do we have that peace? Too little, Hashem doesn't want. Too much is showing it's me thing. Where's that balance in my life? That's kind of what's taking place here. And we see this very clearly. We see that always question was I always asked or thought about is, he takes the Avnei Makom Yosem Rosh Yosef, he puts it around his head, davens, he has his dream, Olam Yordimbo, fantastic. If you're in a place that's in the wilderness and you're by yourself, and there's wild animals around, there's two things you want to do. One is surround yourself with rocks, or not sleep, or go somewhere else. That's the first thing you would do. What's Yaakov doing by surrounding his head with rocks, as opposed to his whole body with rocks, or doing nothing? Like what's that helping anything? So the lion comes, instead of ripping off his ear, it rip off his leg. He's also going to die of, um, if he separates the body from his head, the head will be fine. His body, I mean, you can't do much with that. So the Maram Shik has an interesting idea. These rocks that were around his head, the Yasam Rashasam, that was there, then turns into one, with this idea of Hatzlacha, meaning there's two things taking place here. There's Hashgacha and Shtadlus Masyadav. There's a struggle. There's Avanim, Avnei Yesod, meaning these rocks of foundation. The Yesod of Yaakov, sort of people, is where's Hashgacha Pratis and where's Hishtadlus. Those things I have to put around my head. Those things are fighting with each other. And that's our struggle every day. Not every moment of the day, but that's struggle every day. When we fail, we get mad, we think we suck. And we do great, we think we're great, and we're the best thing in the world. And we don't really put Hashem in that picture, in that box all the time. Maybe sometimes we do, maybe sometimes we don't. But the point is, every time we have to think this. The Bad Ayin says everything, every action you do is only from Hashem allowing us to do it. It's not like it's Torah. Hashem, help me with Torah. Comes to work, I got to call Mark. I got to call the partner at PwC. I got to call this guy who knows this. That's going to help me. That's going to be the thing. I got to be friends with those guys. LinkedIn, that's my thing. Yes, yeah, do those things. But all successes, failures is what Hashem wants us to have and what to take place. And this is the struggle. And that's why it becomes Eben Achas for Yaakov. This becomes Eben Achas. This really drives what takes place. As we see later, which is an interesting idea, is when he cheats Lavan. He cheats Yaakov. Lavan gives him Leah instead of Rachel. And Yaakov doesn't get angry. Vayomer doesn't say Vaydaber. It says Vayomer. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't get angry at this. He gets angry later when Lavan chases him, perhaps. But this idea that he's cheating first time, Mazos Sicily, Halo Rachel Vatimach Long Risani, Yobayichar, Vayomer. And the idea is why getting angry? As Rabbi Biderman says, why get angry? This is apparently what Hashem wanted. It would not have happened if Hashem didn't want this. What's the game plan? What's the thought process? Now, like, why did it happen? But what's the thought process that you did this? You know, we get fired, we get hired, things happen at work, and you can't get angry at these things. This is what's supposed to happen. Yes, I was supposed to come late to the meeting. I was supposed to get my boss angry. Yes, why that happened? That it's what is. It's all exer from Hashem. These ideas of that's another difficult thing we have. We think it's all us. It's all what we're doing. And this perhaps is the idea that Yaakov is taking from Eretz Yisrael to Haran. Yaakov was great, learning in Yeshiva Aber, fantastic. He has to leave. He has to leave. His parents chase him away. Esav, he has to go find a wife. He has to leave. And now Yaakov has to embrace a new idea in his life, which takes place now as he has this dream with the rocks, is that he's great learning Torah, but now take the Kedusha, take the Ziv, take the Hoda, take the shine of Hashem into Harana, take into the world that is low, the world that is anger, the world that doesn't know Hashem, the world that wants to cheat all the time, the world that wants to take successes for themselves, that world. Taking that idea of Eretz Yisrael, this Kedusha, and taking it to this world, this connector, this is what Yaakov, that's the Bechir Avos, this is what Yaakov does, to be able to connect the worlds. And it's the effect that Yaakov has on the Shvatim. It's the effect that Yaakov has on Lavan. At the end of the day, Lavan's chasing Yaakov. And Rav Shemer says, this Kedusha that Yaakov took, Lavan felt this. Lavan changed it a little bit. And this idea we have to kind of understand and take this on the road. When we leave yeshiva, we leave the Bismedrash, the Daf Yomi learning, and go to the job. You have to always remember this, that is all from Hashem. Everything's from Hashem. And things that don't go well, whether it's people being sick, whether people losing jobs, not having enough, can't get angry. You have to daven for it, but know that it's really, at the end of the day, it's from Hashem. And this bitachon is the most important thing. And we'll close with this really interesting idea. So Vitamin, the Bear Parsha, 3 shekel, best bargain in town, because it's the Shabbos Halula, the Bat Ayin. The Bat Ayin was a Kabbalist, a Chassid, lived in Sfat in the mid-1700s. So he didn't live in Bat Ayin for those taking score at home. But this This is the Shabbos Halula. The yard side is next week. So this is Shabbos Halula, the Shabbos before, the Shabbos closest to the yard side. And there's an interesting idea of Emunah B'Tachon. It looks like a lot of it's pieces of the Badayan. I'm not a Badayan disciple. My brother, yes, he is. But every piece really talks about Emunah. And the idea is that it's Hashem Chesed to keep us going. Which, okay, we know that. We believe in it. Fantastic. But it's the Emunah that helps us. The more Emunah you have, the more Chesed you're going to get. Little Emunah, you have to really work really hard and maybe not succeed as much. But if you have a really Emunah B'Tachon that's really from Hashem, the Shefa will come down even more, which is why people, they give tzedakah, they notice they make a lot of money. Hey, what is I said? I gave all this tzedakah. Yes, if you believe it's from Hashem, so I can give my tzedakah, Hashem will take care of me. Hashem rewards you. This works with Emunah tzedakah. And this idea that the Emunah that people had in Hashem, Hakei nitan lahem haman. The Emunah led to the mun, which is something that I don't think I ever thought about. Okay, they left Mitzrayim, Lech Midbar, left Zerua, let's Sukkot, Emunah, we fine. And then a month in, people complain, there's mun. Hashem could have given them anything really. They had their own animals, they weren't going to starve. They could have gone to other nations for food. They could have grown food, I guess. They came out of Mitzrayim with, like I said, with animals. Hashem also could have given them chickens. Hashem could have made miracles that stuff could have grown from the ground. No, it was the mun, meaning it was totally, totally, totally from Hashem. There's no shtalis on their part. Every day from Hashem. They didn't have to take care of animals. They didn't have to grow anything. They didn't have to cut anything. Nothing came from Hashem. So the perfect emunah that they had to leave Mitzrayim, to go to a wilderness where they had nothing going on there, perfect emunah was the result of the mun. And I would say that it's the perfect food for the perfect emunah. If you have perfect emunah, then you're going to get things that are literally from Shemayim. If you have half emunah, you get, half things. You'll have to work half as hard. If you have 90% emunah, then you're going to work 10% and get 90 from Hashem. And this is the idea that the mun, the perfect food, totally came from Shemayim. No waste, no garbage, no expiration. Well, expiration date for a day, but perfect that day. You need exactly what you need, nothing more. And this is from the perfect emunah. And this is perhaps the lesson that we want to take out of the parsha is perfect emunah. Whether we're going to learn half the day and work half the day, whether we're going to work 90% of the day and learn 10% of the day, or work the whole day. The idea is to have emunah, total emunah. And you have total emunah, then you'll have the chesed, you'll have the shefa, the chesed from Hashem. And with that, Shabbat Shalom.